And you are now live.
Perfect. Thank you. Welcome to the January 27th, 2022 Legislative Council meeting. Call the meeting to order, and I would ask Ms. Gresser to call the roll.
Senator Pouliot.
Present.
Senator Timberlake.
Been on it. Yep, here.
Senator Daughtry.
Present.
Senator Vitelli.
Here.
Representative Stetkis.
Try that again. Here.
Representative Talbot Ross.
Here.
Representative Dunphy.
Here.
Mr. President.
Here.
And Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Suzanne. We have, as the first item on our agenda, the summary of the November 18th, 2021 meeting of the Legislative Council. The minutes begin on page 1 of the packet, and I would seek a motion to approve. So moved by President Jackson. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. All those in favor, I'll just take a show of hands. And it is unanimous of those present. You got that, Ms. Gresser. I think everyone's hands were up.
Yes. Everyone's hands were up, and I just want to say one thing that I failed, I think, to call out Representative Dillingham's name. And so I am now saying, because I knew she was here. So Representative Dillingham is here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry.
Sorry about that. I missed that as well. Reports from Executive Director and Staff Office Directors. We have the fiscal report from Mr. Nolan. Actually, if the council is willing to indulge me, and Mr. Nolan and Ms. Fox are also willing to do so, I think I would skip over to new business and take up consideration of after deadline bill requests first, knowing that there are folks likely waiting to speak to us about these after deadline bill requests. Is that okay, Mr. Nolan and Ms. Fox? I see.
Absolutely.
Positive acknowledgement. Okay, so I'm going to take some items out of order, and I will start with consideration of after deadline bill requests. This begins on page 17 of our packets, and these items will require votes, and I will start with after deadline bill requests, I believe, from government agencies, from state agencies. LR 2523, an act to allow electric powered school buses to have distinctively colored bumpers, wheels, and rub rails. Do we have anyone from the designated agency here to speak to us on this one?
No, I expected that Lieutenant Bruce Scott would be here, but I don't see him in the waiting room.
Okay, I will skip it for now, and I'll come back to items skipped at the end and see if folks who should be here, and if they show up at any point, Suzanne, just flag them for me and I'll try to come back to it. LR 2560, an act to impose certain restrictions on the participation in net energy billing by certain customers. Anyone here on this one?
Yes, Andrew Landry from the Office of the Public Advocate is here. If you have any questions on that bill, I just admitted him.
Welcome, Mr. Landry. Do you have any information on this bill for council's consideration?
Okay, I was watching on YouTube and just got admitted now. So are we talking about which bill are we talking about? I'm sorry.
This is LR 2560, an act to impose certain restrictions on the participation in net energy billing by certain customers.
Okay, great. Making sure we're on the right page. Is on YouTube. I was hearing about school buses. Hope that one's going in.
I think about school buses for you.
So the purpose of the bill is under the way the community solar statutes have been drafted. The community solar developers are not required to ensure that the energy that's consumed by their own customers is actually renewable. The effect of what happens is the customer is, paying to support the development of a solar project or other technologies, I suppose. But the renewable attributes of the project can be sold to into the general market, either in Maine or in other jurisdictions. There is no requirement that the energy that is then sold at retail to the retail customer of their project be backed by any renewable credits. And the renewable attributes from these projects is in fact being sold to other customers. It may be retail customers of the standard offer or competitive suppliers in Maine, or maybe retail customers in other states. The concern we have with that is we're paying a lot of money for this program, and it's intended to improve the renewable, let's just say it's intended to help the state meet its climate policy goals. And to the extent that it is not, the power being consumed by customers is not backed by renewable attributes, then in fact, we're consuming less renewable energy as a result of the of this program than we would be if we didn't do the program at all. And this bill would put the energy supply to community solar customers on the same footing as energy supplied from competitive energy suppliers in the standard offer. They'd have to meet the same renewable portfolio standard. I know it's probably a lot of jargon for you non-energy types, but I apologize for that.
I appreciate that, Mr. Landry. Are there any questions from council? President Jackson.
Mr. Landry, do you have a draft already of this language or?
Yes. Yep.
I'd like to see more of it. I don't know if there's something we could table and get some of that language from you. And obviously then we could make a decision. I'm interested in knowing more about it, but or really getting, and I'd like to know probably if you have examples of how this is actually happening currently.
It's happening right now because most, if not all, community solar developers are selling their RECs to third parties. They're not retaining the renewable energy credits that their projects produce to serve their own customers. There may be some, I've heard tell that some may be acquiring RECs from another source, but they're not necessarily Maine compliant RECs. But at least they're making an effort. But we're trying to make my goal is to make the energy that's consumed by the customers of these projects equivalent to that consumed by competitive to customers of the standard offer and competitive suppliers. But we did circulate language. We circulated language over a month ago. I'm not sure why it wouldn't have been shared with the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Landry, for that answer. Typically we with after deadline bills, we're getting the title and
Okay.
Explicitly directed to share. It's different than the policy committee where obviously the bill is presented in
Sure.
the hearing faction.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Senator Timberlake.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I'm concerned this afternoon with all the bills that we're going to be trying to let in, getting this late in the session. But I'm interested with this bill. My question to you is, does this have anything to do with the net metering portion of this solar energy? Because that seems to be the thing that I'm hearing up and down. And we're not in debating the bill, whether we need to understand that.
It is about net metering, but it's the what they call the shared ownership net metering as opposed to the rooftop net metering, because it is about net metering, but it's the what they
I would just remind folks joining us if they could please mute themselves.
propose to-
Representative Roche, you're not muted, and we can hear you.
We're not in debating the bill, whether.
well,
Okay, that's good. Representative Rudnicki, you're also not muted, just as a FYI. Thank you. Mr. Lundy, you can proceed.
I don't know if folks heard that, but no, this is the what they call the shared ownership net energy billing, which is what I refer to as community solar as opposed to traditional rooftop. Traditional rooftop, they do not typically sell RECs into the market, so customers are in fact consuming the renewable energy they produce.
Senator Vitelli, who serves on this committee, probably can provide us with an extension of her knowledge from EUT. So,
Well, only to a certain extent, but thank you, Mr. Speaker. The issue, as I understand it, is a bit more complicated. We just had a presentation from the PUC on the role of RECs in setting the marketplace or in the marketplace. There's been a lot of work done in committee already on this whole issue, and I would, without seeing the language, and I apologize if not seeing the language, I would support a motion to table this one until we get more information. This doesn't seem like the right session in which to deal with an issue that is this complicated and has so many moving parts to it. That's my take. Thanks.
thank you, Senator Vitelli. I have Representative Sekis, and then Representative Dillingham, and then Senator Pouliot.
It's not fair. I get moved around on the screen just as I go to click to unmute myself. I'd be interested to know, when did this become an issue that we're trying to deal with here and that this bill would deal with, and how long ago was it discovered that it was an issue?
I personally discovered this issue when the commission had Public Utilities Commission undertook a rulemaking earlier this year to implement the consumer protection standards that were directed by the legislature last session. And they explored whether or not to impose this very aspect of the rule of this very condition as part of the rulemaking. In fact, I argued that that it was not within their discretion to do it as part of the rulemaking, that they had to send it back to legislature, and I, on my own initiative, did this. I mean, this legislation was certainly, it was enacted, I don't recall, a few years ago, and then I believe last session there was a significant amendment to it. I was not working the legislative matters for the OPA at that time, so I wasn't involved in analyzing the bill. And the first I was aware of it was, again, out of the PUC rulemaking when they raised the issue.
Representative Dillingham.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Landry, actually, for taking the time to answer the questions that you have so far. For me, I am comfortable not tabling this and voting on this today. I don't believe it is the position of the Legislative Council to debate the merits of the bill, but rather if the issue rises to the level of emergency nature and needing to be referred to committee, respect that Representative Vitelli sits on the committee of jurisdiction, and I'm comfortable going ahead and voting this bill forward and allowing them to have that further debate and discussion in depth about this piece of legislation. And the committee can then decide if this is something that they can deal with in this time frame for our short session, or it is something that the committee feels they're not going to be able to fully take up in depth, and it would have to be brought forward again during our next legislative session. It is something that the committee votes out, then we could have the debate that we're starting right here, we could have on the House floor and the Senate floor. So that is my viewpoint. I respect that if the committee wants to table, but I am comfortable voting on this bill right now.
President Jackson.
Sorry. Yeah, so I can appreciate Representative Dillingham's point on that. well, I'm not. I think I've saw something go forward to utilities recently that might handle this. I'd really, if Mr. Landry has something, I would like to understand it better. And there has been an awful lot of work on this, but I'm definitely interested in finding out more about it from him. So, I would rather, myself personally, I'd rather have this tabled, either take it up by ballot or take it up next time. So I'd move the table.
Motion to table by President Jackson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Talbot Ross. No discussion on tabling motion. All those in favor of the tabling motion, please signify by raising your hand or your virtual hand, whichever you prefer. I have President Jackson, Senator Pouliot, Senator Vitelli, Senator Daughtry, Representative Talbot Ross, Representative Dunphy, Senator Timberlake. All those opposed? I have Representative Stekis and Representative Dillingham opposed. In favor. You were
No,
in favor.
as I said, I if the committee would like to table, I don't have an issue with that.
All right.
I was in favor. My hand was up.
Sorry, you were. There's a lot of people that have been added into the Zoom, so you were for some reason at the very bottom of the screen. I missed you.
That's okay.
Thanks. So I think it was a 9-1 vote. The
Yes.
motion prevails.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. The next, I see, I thought I saw at one point we had Lieutenant Scott is with us. So I will go back to item LR number 2523, an act to allow electric powered school buses to have distinctively colored bumpers, wheels, and rub rails. Lieutenant Scott, if you're with us, you are welcome to speak to the merits of this bill and why it's being introduced after deadline. Well, I will come back to Lieutenant Scott. Item 2571, an act to ensure release of relevant background investigation material to current employers of law enforcement and correction officers. Is there someone from an agency on this? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that would also be Lieutenant Scott. It's the
Okay, so both
public
are
safety
Lieutenant
bill.
Scott. I've messaged him and hopefully he'll actually be with us at some point soon. Next item is LR 2500, an act to amend the school bus driver qualification requirements. Representative Andrews is with us. Representative Andrews, if you can just let us know why this bill has been introduced after deadline and why it merits our consideration as a full legislature.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for having me. I urge the council to vote to introduce LR 2550, an act to amend the school bus driver qualification requirements for the second session of the 130th. The idea for this bill came from when I was substitute teaching in December, which was post-closure, and I saw firsthand how bad the bus driver crisis really is in our state. I collaborated with the school administration and their transportation director for some ideas on how to address the issue facing our state. The intention of this bill is to streamline the process for people with an existing CDL to get an endorsement on their license to drive a school bus. Currently, someone with a CDL has to restart the entire process of commercial licensure for an endorsement to drive. LR 2550 would allow them to drive a school bus after simply passing a written and road test. Last week, our entire congressional delegation sent a letter to the Secretary of Transportation asking him to address the shortage of school bus drivers across the country and in our state. The chief executive herself has sent correspondence to Secretary Buttigieg asking for help with the school bus driver crisis. Both of these clearly demonstrate that this issue is time sensitive and indeed an emergency facing our state. LR 2550 deserves an opportunity to be addressed by the legislature in the second session of the 130th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Andrews. Are there any questions from council for Representative Andrews? Seeing none. I will likely be voting against this just because I think, as you've outlined, Representative Andrews, I think it's a federal issue. I think from my understanding of it, is that there are federal requirements that require certain licensure, and that's what's preventing some of the smart ideas that have been brought forward.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. I've been in touch with policy people from Collins' office as well as Congressman Golden's, and they both agree that this could be a good vehicle. If any federal changes come down, we need to change statutes in our state as well. So I'm trying to dovetail everything together so that everybody's rowing in the same direction.
Any other questions, comments from council? Senator Timberlake.
My only comment, Mr. Speaker, is that this bill, yeah, there has to be some federal changes, but there would still have to be some state changes. And if we could have this in and the federal decides to make the changes that are necessary, then we would have this bill in place so that we can make the changes, because it is a problem. And, you know, I do have a Class A license. I am a commercial driver, and I understand, and I even have my bus my bus endorsement. So I understand where it's coming at. If we're going to fix the crisis in the state of Maine, we're going to have to address this either now or next session. And I think it needs to be addressed now.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Daughtry.
Thank you, Speaker Ryan. I have to say, having spent almost 8 years on the Education Committee, this is something we've been dealing with, and this is something we discussed on the IDEA Committee as well, which I know Representative Andrews, you are a member of. It is a crisis. My only concern is that, yes, we need federal action, but I'm a little bit nervous if we put the cart before the horse. You know, if we have the placeholder bill without having the federal action, and I do think this is something, you know, once we do have that federal action, that we can come back and, you know, put another bill through this process all over again. But yeah, no, until we have that, I'm concerned about that moving forward.
Senator, another aspect that was a recommendation from the transportation people was to look into even creating a Maine bus driver license for those who don't have the time or inclination to spend the time and money to get a CDL, but specifically be trained by their district to drive a bus, pass a written test and a road test. So on a state level, that's something we could explore with this in the revisor as well.
May I have a follow-up real quick?
Yep, Senator Daughtry.
Thank you so much. Definitely something that's a conversation that's been had and worth continuing. But the last conversation I had was concerns about that putting us in violation of potential federal funding for schools within transportation, and that we'd be putting that money that we'd be hoped to be using to train more school bus drivers in jeopardy. So with that, I just want to say I'll be voting against this, but I'm firmly committed, like you, to make sure we fix this. And it's one of those problems we all deal with, policymakers, of, you know, how do we untangle the federal versus state and make sure we're all moving the same direction? And thank you for working on this.
So I'd seek a motion of moving it in or moving it out. Senator Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move it out.
Motion to move it out. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Dunphy. I suspect a roll call will probably be required in this case, so I will ask Ms. Gresser to call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
No.
Senator Daughtry, Senator Daughtry, I think you're on mute.
She said her audio has stopped working. She's working on it.
Can you just indicate either yay or nay with your hand? The motion is to move it out. Are you in favor of letting the bill forward or not? So therefore, if you letting it in is to let it move forward, moving it out is to not let it move forward. So if you're in favor, okay, thank you.
So,
Senator Vitale.
Mr. Speaker,
yeah,
my vote should have been no. I missed the double negative. This is like a referendum question here.
Yeah, it's in favor, basically it ought not to pass.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
It's somehow connected to my car speaker in the parking lot.
Okay, so just to clarify, Senator Pouliot is recorded as no.
No.
Senator Timberlake is recorded as no.
No.
Daughtry is recorded as yes.
Yes. Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis,
Nay.
Representative Dillingham,
No.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
and Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it's 6-4. The motion to move it out prevails.
Thank you, Ms. Cresser. Thank you, Representative Andrews, for bringing the bill forward for our consideration. Next item is LR 2574, an act to retroactively approve by a 2/3 vote of the legislature the lease of certain public lands by the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, Bureau of Public Lands. Do we have, Lieutenant Scott, I see you're here and your camera's on. So I'm actually going to go back to LR 2523, an act to allow electric powered school buses to have distinctively colored bumpers, wheels, and rub rails. Lieutenant Scott, if you can speak to why this bill is after deadline and the merits of this bill for consideration during the second regular session.
Yes, thank you, and my apologies. I was having technical difficulties, but I'm on now. Regarding that bill, the state police had asked the bill be put in prior to closure, and apparently there was an error when we tried to put it in and the numbers got mixed up. So it did turn out that it was put in after the deadline. But essentially, the need for this bill just arose when we learned that there were going to be school buses that were manufactured, and they had different colored bumpers, wheels, and rub rails to signify that they were electronic. And we recognized the importance of needing the appropriate colors to let first responders know that these buses were indeed electric. So they had to be handled a little bit differently. Rescues needed to be handled differently if the vehicles were involved in a crash. We certainly wanted to make sure all the first responders were aware that, that it was indeed an electric bus. So the current statute under Title 29A, Section 2302, doesn't allow for a school bus to have any other color other than black for a bumper. And if they're coming from the factory with green or blue or even gray to signify it's an electronic vehicle, the last thing that we wanted was for school districts to immediately have to paint over those markings so that they became a black bumper and black wheels and black rub rails to comply with statute, but certainly would not serve their purpose of warning first responders that it was an electric vehicle. So I hope that briefly answers your question.
Thank you for your brevity and your thorough explanation. President Jackson.
Yeah, I move it in.
President Jackson moves it in. Is there a second? Second by Representative Dunphy. I will have Ms. Cresser call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes, move in.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
and Mr. Speaker.
No.
Motion prevails.
Next item is LR 2571, an act to ensure release of relevant background investigation material to current employers of law enforcement and corrections officers. Lieutenant Scott, the floor is yours. I think this is you as well, Lieutenant Scott. We weren't exactly sure, but I suspect it is.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe
Okay.
that I was involved in
Okay.
that or reviewed that bill. That's why I was kind of looking dumbfounded. for a moment.
I saw your reaction. I thought, uh-oh, maybe it's not, maybe it's not him. Okay. And I don't think we have anyone here yet from a respective agency to speak to this. So I will skip it once more and I will go forward. Do we see Senator Bennett with us at this point? I'm not seeing Senator Bennett at this point.
I don't see him, but I don't know if Representative Andrews is still here.
Oh, right. We could have done the joint
Joint
resolution.
res.
Yeah.
I don't see him. Okay.
Hopefully we can get in touch with him and have him come back. And if he does come back, I will skip over to the joint resolution. I see Senator Black, however, LR 2580, resolve directing the Bureau of Parks and Lands to approve the construction of an extension of telecommunications tower on Bald Mountain in the town of Rangeley. Senator Black, thanks for joining us, and just looking for an explanation as to why this is after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second regular session.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for your time. The reason this is before you today is in the past, these permits have not required a 2/3 vote of the legislature. This is a AT&T first responder addition to existing tower in Rangeley, just adding another 19 feet to the tower because of the CMP litigation that's going on with the corridor. Now, Bureau of Parks and Lands now requires a 2/3 vote on anything on public lands. And this wasn't the case before. So this is a new situation for people permitting existing towers or non-significant changes to public land.
Thank you, Senator Black. Are there any questions from council? Oh, sorry, Senator Timberlake, did you say move it in?
Yes, I was gonna say move it in, please.
Okay, Senator Timberlake has moved it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Stekis. Any further discussion or questions for Senator Black? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stekis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
and Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it's moved in.
Yes, unanimous of those present. I am admitting Representative Andrews to rejoin us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Black. Representative Andrews, if you are back with us, we will, I'm sorry, I apologize for not taking up the joint resolution you had also up for consideration. To save you some time, we're going to skip ahead to that so that we can, you can get on with the rest of your day. LR 2321, joint resolution urging Congress and Maine's delegation to Congress to oppose changes to tax compliance policies proposed at the federal level and the potential invasion of privacy caused by those changes. Representative Andrews, the floor is yours to explain to us this joint resolution proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do appreciate you bumping me up in the order. This resolution is basically to put Maine on the map, saying that we are not okay with the IRS snooping into our citizens' bank accounts for the small amounts of $600 or even $10,000, because that's basically rent in a year. I think this deserves a debate and a vote on the floor. If it prevails, it can be sent to our congressional delegation to let them know our thoughts on the matter. I think it's very important that we are on the record, because with everything going on the Hill in DC, this is still something that could be entered back into the conversation with all the horse trading that goes on and reconciliation for the bills that they're working on down there.
Well, thank you, Representative Andrews. Are there any questions from council for Representative Andrews? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Make that move in.
Representative Stekis moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy.
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
Nope.
Mr. Speaker, the motion fails.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Andrews. Back to the top here. Senator Bennett's not with us yet. Representative Chiazzo, LR 2579, an act to improve testing requirements for, oh, this is in ballot. This is a ballot in progress, is noted here.
Yes, it's in ballot process, but it has not completed, so you
We
could.
can take a vote. And Representative Chiazzo is here. This is an act to improve testing requirements for adult use marijuana. Representative Chiazzo, the floor is yours to explain to us why this is coming after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second regular session.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity. Currently in statute for adult use marijuana, there's a testing requirement every time there's a process change to the product. So in essence, the flower that's grown, if it's transferred to a processor for tincture, the grower has to test it before it's transferred. Once it's processed again for tincture, if it goes to a group that's going to turn it into an edible, it has to be tested again by the tincture. And then the edible, once it's changed again, has to be tested a third time in order to get it before it goes to the consumer. The goal here is to take some of that administrative burden off and allow for testing once before, right before it's available to the consumer. The reason for that is twofold. Number one, it's creating quite a backlog on the testing process. It adds a considerable cost to the adult use products because it's multiple testing and in some cases redundant. And the third issue is that we've got rules coming in front of the committee this session. And the reason this is an emergency is we're going to be dealing with those rules hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And the hope was to incorporate any bill language that we have ahead of time before we address the rules as well. So the reason it's aftermarket is it was submitted as a suite of bills from some of the adult use industrial groups. They asked me to sponsor it. It was rejected at first. I did not appeal because there was no language behind it. So I needed to see the language before I agreed to do that. And now the language is available. So that's why I'm here before you.
Thank you, Representative Chiazzo. Are there any questions from council for Representative Chiazzo? Representative Stetkis.
Mr. Speaker, is there an opportunity in the bills that you spoke of coming into committee that the language of this could just be amended into if it was satisfactory to the committee as opposed to creating a whole new bill and going through this whole process?
Thank you, Representative Stetkis. There are a suite of bills, but they tend to be focused on, one is on track and trace. So none of them really address testing. I mean, we could stretch and say it's adult use, but I'm not sure if that's enough of a broad stroke in order to get it into one of these other bills. The other ones are pretty specific in terms of the areas of adult use that they're using, or that they're addressing.
Representative Dillingham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Chiazzo, does this proposal mirror what currently is required in the medical marijuana piece as well? Do they have testing at the same stages that currently adult use has?
They do not. It's a completely separate program, and their testing requirements are much different than the adult use.
But they don't have to test at each change of use.
They do. Medical marijuana does not have that requirement currently. Adult use does have it at literally every phase change.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? President Jackson. President Jackson, you're on mute.
Thank you, Speaker. I was actually thinking along the same lines of Representative Dillingham. I guess I'm just curious, Representative Cazzo, if you would know, did OMP want medical to have more rigorous testing? I mean, if we were to go forward with this, would we see the same type of thing, end result testing, or, I mean, at least is that part of the conversation?
I certainly don't want to speak for the Office of Marijuana Policy. They have their own position. They are two separate programs. They're being regulated separately. This would actually be less of a restriction. So if the desire was to mirror the two programs together, the current testing regimen for adult use is very rigid and regimented. This would actually roll that back a little bit and give a little bit of concession to the group, so that, again, making sure that customer safety is there, consumer safety is there. We're not getting rid of testing. We're trying to make that redundancy a little bit less and those costs a little bit less. So if the OMP decides, or if the committee decides to implement some kind of medical testing, and we use this as the benchmark, it would be less restrictive than the current standards, for
sure. Any additional questions for Representative Chiazzo, Representative Stichels?
You're just curious to know where the current standard on this particular situation came from. Was it from the Citizens Initiative, or did it originate from the study group? I know there were a lot of concessions made to make adult use a reality here in Maine. Was this possibly one of those for safety reasons or whatever the case was?
I'll be honest with you, Representative Stichels, I don't know the origination of it. It is in statute right now. That's what I'm hoping to address with this piece of legislature, is to roll that back a little bit. There is a group that met over the course of the summer, but that was medical related. That wasn't adult use related. So I'm not sure if that's the committee you were talking about, or if it was something prior to that.
I think he's referring to the implementation committee. That was the joint committee, no pun intended, that was established when the referendum passed.
Yeah, again, I apologize. I don't know the origination of it. I know that it's in statute right now, and this is an attempt to try and react. I think the statute's been in, I don't know it off the top of my head. I think it's been in for a couple of years now. Clearly, it seems to be a little bit onerous, is what I'm hearing from the adult use group. It's still, hopefully, it needs to serve its purpose of protecting consumers. But the thought right now, or the feedback that I've heard from the group, is that the testing at every stage is really just it's a little bit prohibitive. So,
President Jackson, is your hand up?
Yeah, Speaker. I think we all understand that it's a debate about testing, and some of us are wondering where this might fit for the medical also. So I think I'm comfortable moving it in. I may not support it, but I think I'm comfortable moving it in. So I'd make a motion for
that. President Jackson moves it in. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Representative Talbot Ross. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stichels,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Don't see her coming on video, so Representative Dillingham, are you there? She may have stepped aside.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
So the motion prevails.
Thank you.
Yeah, motion prevails. Thank you, Representative Chiazzo. Next item is LR 2533, resolve authorizing Maine School Administrative District 6 to lease a former administrative office building in the town of Buxton. Representative Carlo, the floor is yours to explain to us why this is after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second regular session.
Mr. Speaker, President Jackson, and members of the council. Essentially, what's going on here is that the former administrative office building, which has been unoccupied for several years before the lease, been renewed by the school system. Current statute, specifically 20-A, section 4103, says that public school districts cannot lease a property for more than 4 years. States that the lease can be clarified at the end of that period. Even though the lease has been extended twice now by the school system and the Historical Society, the issue is that the Historical Society has been effectively disqualified from obtaining grant funding, reference statute. The perception that exists on paper is that the lease will finally expire after the current 4-year period lapses. And because of that, major grant providers have been unwilling to provide financial support. And without this grant funding, the society cannot remain functional at its current level. Community would lose access to some of its services, and additional renovations to the property that are needed for the society's expansion cannot be completed without that external aid. It was presented to me after the original closure deadline, which is why I'm submitting it as an after deadline request. And both the school district and the Historical Society believe that a 20-year period would provide additional flexibility for them to be able to obtain the grant funding that they need to continue their operations and to sustain the really remarkable progress that they've made throughout the duration of their lease. In closing, I would just add that council members should be in receipt of a joint letter signed by the chairperson of our school board, support of this special law, allowing them to lease the property up to 20 years, notwithstanding the provisions of 20-A. And while the Historical Society isn't on that letter, they believe also that an extension to or an exemption from the law is the best way to proceed. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that council members.
Thank you, Representative Carlo. Are there any questions from council? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I would make a motion, move it in.
Senator Pouliot moves it in. Is there a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Senator Vitelli. Any further discussion on the motion to move it in? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Senator Timberlake indicates yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Absent.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the motion passes.
Thank you, Representative Carlo. Motion prevails. Moving it in. LR 2590, an act to require suicide prevention barriers on the Penobscot Narrows Bridge. Senator Claxton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the Legislative Council for the opportunity to present this bill about bridge safety and suicide. It's being presented after deadline because I was approached only a few weeks ago by the Honorable John Cleveland. He had a friend who lost a daughter to the 8th or 9th suicide off that bridge and asked if I would look into some sort of additional safety measures. for that particular bridge. Since then, I've had conversations with the Department of Transportation, Anita Fisher, with the folks at NAMI Maine, who have the main contract for suicide prevention, and with Senator Diamond, Chair of Transportation. What I'm asking for is a study group that would, A, look at the state standards for bridge safety construction. Clearly, they can't be less than federal standards, but they certainly could be more if we want to prevent suicide or discourage suicide for bridges with a deck height above a certain level. And I think there's 5 or 6 of those in the state. So it's broader than any one bridge. The other option the other portion of the request is that the study group look at options for making the bridges that exist now safer from the construction, video cameras, spikes. There's lots of different options, but that's the gist of it. And my hope is that this would provide some measure of solace for a grieving family. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Claxton. Are there any questions for Senator Claxton? President Jackson.
Thank you, Speaker. I actually heard a lot of the stories about here, the bridge going across the Kennebec here, right here in Augusta, and what a real struggle it was to get the suicide prevention on that bridge. And so I'm definitely willing to move this one in.
President Jackson moves it in. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Dunphy. Any further discussion on the motion at hand, which is to move it in? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot is absent. Senator Timberlake.
I want to join the speaker with his no votes on this, but there's a part of me that says yes, but I'm going to say no because it's too late in the session. You got to say no.
Senator Daughtry.
Yes.
Senator Vitelli.
Yes.
Representative Stetkis.
No.
No.
Representative Dillingham. It's absent. Representative Talbot Ross.
Yes.
Representative Dunphy.
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes.
President Jackson, yes. Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, yes. Mr. Speaker, the vote is 1, 2, 3, 6 to 2 with 2 absences. So the bill is let in.
Motion prevails. Thank you, Senator Claxton.
Thank you all very much.
Senator Searway, LR 2540, an act to combat violence, disorder, and looting and protect law enforcement officers. Senator Searway, the floor is yours. You're on mute. And if you could explain to us why this was after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second session.
Thank you, Speaker Fecto, President Jackson, and members of the Legislative Council. I am here before you today requesting that you let in LR 2540, an act to combat violence, disorder, and looting and protecting law enforcement officers. This legislation is aimed at protecting civilians and members of law enforcement from violent behaviors. And for many years, Americans have gathered to support or speak out on various issues and have done so peacefully. In the recent years, however, we have seen that violence, destruction, and even looting have become more common during protests and demonstrations. These acts have resulted in personal injury and death, as well as many destroyed businesses. This bill would put thoughtful protections in place. For instance, a roadway could not be obstructed during an unpermitted protest or demonstration. Individuals concerned for their safety should be able to get out of safely without fear of liability. Through enhanced penalties, civilians and members of law enforcement would be protected from individuals who might otherwise cause them physical harm. As we have seen the benefit of school resource officers and members of the law enforcement in your communities, this bill would also protect those individuals by prohibiting efforts to defund the police. Representative Chris Sprowls of Florida House of Representatives said peaceful protesting is a constitutional right, but looting and disorderly rioting are not. I agree that this sentiment, and I believe that this legislation will help to bring back peaceful protesting where individuals maintain the right to use their voice, but in a way that prevents harm and destruction. On January 5th, 2022, the Maine House and Senate voted on a joint resolution commemorating the January 6th insurrection. The joint resolution stated, "This act of domestic terrorism left an estimated 140 members of law enforcement who serve and protect the United States Capitol and the United States Congress with serious injuries ranging from brain damage to crushed spine, spinal disc, etc." It went on to say, "We take this opportunity to recognize this solemn anniversary, honor the brave men and women serving in law enforcement committed to protecting the United States Capitol and the Maine State House." If we are serious about protecting citizens and the brave men and women serving in law enforcement, particularly during events such as January 6, 2021, I ask that you let in LR 2540. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator Searway. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none. Mr. Chobano, I don't know if you're still there, but I seem to recall there was a bill of a similar nature considered in the first regular session. Do you have any recollection of this?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. When you're in year 8, a lot of things start to meld together, but I feel pretty confident that we considered a similar bill in the first regular session. Any discussion, questions, motions? Senator Timberlake.
I'll move it in.
Senator Timberlake moves it in. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Representative Dillingham. Any further discussion? Seeing President Jackson.
Thank you. So Senator Searway, did I hear you say that blocking the road will be subject to this bill?
Well, that would be part of the discussion. You know, I will say that I witnessed violence even at the Augusta Civic Center when Susan Collins was there. A lady tried attacking her. So I can say that, you know, it does happen. And also that I've talked to other law enforcement officers that have experienced violence in some of the protests here in Maine. So I'm just saying that this is something we're just trying to keep the peace. And I think it's important, especially this time and age. It has nothing to do with parties. I think this is just safety for the public. And I don't recall of any bill coming to criminal justice on this. And I don't know if it went to judiciary, but I know it didn't come to criminal justice.
Well, I think the speaker's right. I think we've dealt with a number of times. I know that Senator Nutting had a bill on environmental terrorism. I think we passed. But I mean, I was pretty sure I heard you say blocking a road, and under that standard, I guess I would be a terrorist. But So I mean, I think. there's a
That's
lot
not
of laws-
necessary, but that's just
No.
one of the instances of it happened.
Right, but I think there's a lot of laws currently. I think we've escalated violence for police officers, EMS, firefighters, and with good reason. I don't know that something like this, I mean, I think there's already stuff on the books. I mean, I'm certainly supportive of people who breaks the law should be punished to the full extent, but I don't really know. I mean, I'm not gonna be supportive because it doesn't seem like, I mean, what I heard you say was blocking the road. I might be doing that in a month from now, so who knows, but anyways, I'll let it go at that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll. Ms. Gresser, you're on mute.
Sorry. Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot's absent. Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
No.
Representative Stetkis,
No.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy,
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the motion does not prevail.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you for
Gresser.
your consideration.
Thank you, Senator Searway. Next item is LR 2543, an act to require the payment of child support by intoxicated drivers to cause the death of a parent. Senator Davis, the floor is yours to explain why this is coming in after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second regular session.
It's coming in after deadline, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, because it was pointed out to me after the deadline that another state had enacted a bill like this, and I read up on it some, and it seemed to me like this would make for a real good discussion on what we're doing.
Thank you, Senator Davis. I appreciate the brevity at this hour and knowing we have a lot of work ahead of us. Any discussion on this item? I see President Jackson with his hand up.
Yeah, I think Senator Davis hit the nail on the head about these bills, and I've actually talked to him. I'll move to let it in.
President Jackson moves to let it in, seconded by Senator Timberlake. Any further discussion? I would just say that I'm sure it has merit to be considered. It feels like probably a significant policy shift. I don't know if we would get too far in the second regular session on something like this. So I'll be voting no, even though I appreciate the sentiment behind it. Any further discussion? Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot, Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake, yes. Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Daughtry, no. Senator Vitelli,
No.
Senator Vitelli, no. Representative Stetkis,
No.
Representative Stetkis, no. Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham, yes. Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Talbot Ross, no. Representative Dunphy,
No.
Representative Dunphy, no. Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. President, yes. Mr. Speaker,
No.
Mr. Speaker, no. Mr. Speaker, the motion does not prevail.
Motion fails. Next item is LR 2549, an act to create a graduated civil penalty scale for cultivating and selling medical and adult use marijuana without a license. Senator Davis, floor is yours yet again. Same prompt.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. This issue was brought to me by the chief of police in one of the towns that I represent. He was frustrated with the way the laws are structured right now, and he felt there should be a system of fines for people operating without licenses and that type of thing. And after talking to him, he wanted me to bring the bill in, and we did. And that is pretty much the extent of it. If you need more, then I would suggest you table it and I'll get more.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any questions from council for Senator Davis? Representative Dillingham.
Thank you. Senator Davis, I know you said you could get more, but just, I do believe that we already have those penalties. Are you suggesting of changing the existing penalties for somebody who's operating without a license?
Without a license to deal with marijuana. That's what
Right,
it is,
so-
not a motor vehicle.
So would this be changing the existing penalties we already have in place? Is that what you're attempting to do?
I believe it would be adding a fine structure to the system.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Representative Steckes.
So I'd just like to say, I know this is certainly an issue, but at this late date, I think a matter like this would probably be better handled in the beginning of the next session.
Thank you, Representative Steckes. I would just say, I know that there's a lot of rules being looked at by the Committee of Jurisdiction. I don't know if this is gonna be part of it, but I feel like they're certainly continue to look at implementation of this program, and I would agree that either that it may or may not come up in the course of their conversations already, or if it needs to be raised, I think next session would probably be appropriate. So I would seek a motion on this item. Don't all jump at once. Senator Timberlake.
I'll make a motion not to pass.
Senator Timberlake moves it in. Is there a second? Motion fails.
I'll second.
Representative Dillingham is seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot, Senator Pouliot absent, Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake, yes, Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Daughtry, no, Senator Vitelli,
No.
Senator Vitelli, no, Representative Steckes,
No.
Representative Steckes, no, Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham, yes, Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Talbot Ross, no, Representative Dunphy,
No.
Representative Dunphy, no, Mr. President,
No.
Mr. President, no, Mr. Speaker,
Nope.
Mr. Speaker, no, Mr. Speaker, the vote was 2-7 and 1 absent, so the motion fails.
Motion fails. Thank you, Senator Davis, for your time today. Next
Thank you
item
for
is-
your time.
Thank you. Next item is LR 2566, an act to place a moratorium on reevaluations of property by municipalities. The floor is yours, Representative Evangelos, to tell us why this is after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second regular session. And you are on mute.
Thank you.
Now
Speaker.
you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker Fecto and President Jackson. Last month, I discovered that the commercial property occupancy rate in New York City is currently 30%. The big bosses in New York and other metropolitan areas have figured out they don't need to pay $20 million a month to rent a high rise. The workers in Manhattan and elsewhere have figured out with Zoom that they don't have to rent an apartment for $3,000 a month or live in the city, where they make $200,000 to $400,000 a year, way above our income here. We can't compete. So they're leaving in droves, and they're even coming to the county, Troy. Where I live, houses are being snapped up for 300% of their assessed values. This is primarily a residential property problem, not so much affecting land or the commercial side of real estate. So the problem comes when municipal revaluations occur. Residential real estate taxes will soar, pushing mom and pop on Social Security and fixed incomes out of their homes, unable to pay their property taxes. So this moratorium will give us a chance to assess this dynamic that's underway in our state. We're either going to have to raise the homestead exemption by $100,000 or do something with the property fairness credit. But something's got to give. I think we've all seen the dynamic underway. It's incredible around here what's going on. And it's a real concern for the elderly that are on fixed income. That's the rationale why I proposed it.
Thank you, Representative Evangelist. Are there any questions from council? Senator Timberlake.
So Representative Evangelos, am I to hear you that you're saying municipalities, you don't want to give them a right to do, this bill is to take away the right for local control to do reevaluations?
All we're saying is to take some time until the Bureau of Property Taxation and Assessment can get a handle on what this dynamic is doing. You know, we can negotiate the period down, but I'll tell you the dynamic's underway. We had this dynamic on the coast for a while, and that's what led to these cost sharing agreements between school districts that had maybe one coastal town and 5 inland towns. Because the coastal valuation, the local moderate income and poor folks couldn't afford to pay their property taxes anymore, and they were being forced out. It's the same dynamic. There's this big money coming in, Senator Timberlake, and they're buying property sight unseen. So I'm really worried that if we don't take some time, I certainly wouldn't want to see my town going into a reval in the next year without examining the consequences of what it's going to do to our local people. So it's an idea around that, but certainly not any permanent disruption in the local control of the right of municipalities to reassess their property. But understanding that this is unprecedented, and I think a pause might be in order.
Representative Stekis.
Hey, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if this is necessarily unprecedented. This has been going on in rural Maine for 20 years, and it is indeed a very, very difficult problem, but I'm not sure that, you know, this is necessarily the answer. I think we need something a little bit more comprehensive brought forward. So I don't think I'm going to be able to, you know, support this particular idea, but there is definitely a drastic need for something to be done.
Thank you for that. I will tell you, Representative Stekis, the problem has been going on in the rural areas for a long time, but this particular problem is pandemic driven because the bosses in the high-rise buildings figured out that the people can work from home, and that's what's driving the dynamic. They don't have to live in the cities anymore. We just had a house down the road that was worth like $200,000 go for $600,000. And you know, I'm not picking on anybody, but there's New York plates. They came 2 days for Christmas, and the place is deserted. It's happening everywhere. So I'm just worried about those people on Social Security. You know.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I move it in.
Representative Talbot Ross moves it in. Is there a second? Fails for lack of second. Is there another motion? Senator Timberlake.
I move on not to pass.
Senator
Not
Timberlake moves it
whatever.
out. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Dillingham. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake.
No, yes, I mean, I gotta get my way, which way I'm going here. Yes, on not moving it in.
Yes to move it out.
Yes, to move it out. There we go.
Senator Daughtry.
Yes.
Yes to move it out. Senator Vitelli.
Yes.
Senator Vitelli votes yes. Representative Stekis.
Yes.
Representative Stekis, yes. Representative Dillingham.
Yes.
Representative Dillingham, yes. Representative Talbot Ross.
No.
Representative Talbot Ross, no. Representative Dunphy.
Yes.
Representative Dunphy, yes. Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President, yes. Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, yes. Mr. Speaker, the motion to move it out prevails.
Thank you. Motion prevails. Thank you, Representative Evangelos.
Thank you, Speaker. See you later.
See you later. Next up is Senator Farren, LR 2583, resolve to authorize the Bureau of Parks and Lands to enter into a lease with Christian Camps and Conferences for a parcel of property located in Somerset County. Senator Farren, the floor is yours. I suspect we know the issue at hand because I think I'm catching on to a theme with some of these items.
Speaker Fecto, President Jackson, members of the Legislative Council. It was just recently brought to my attention that the Moose River Outpost, it's part of the Christian Camps and Conferences. They're at risk at losing their lease with the Bureau of Parks and Lands from being extended. In 1999, 7,000 acres in the Jackman and Dennistown area was gifted to CCCI. Since then, campers have come from all over to experience the Wilderness Adventure Camp. The most recent lease entered an agreement with the Bureau that was effective June 1st, 2016 for a term of 25 years at no less than 5-year intervals. Because of what's gone on with the public lands discussion, it's my understanding the department is not opposed to renewing the lease, but they will not do it without legislative approval. For that reason, I am asking that you let in LR 2583.
Thank you, Senator Farren. Is there discussion or a motion? Senator Timberlake.
I move it in.
Senator Timberlake moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Dunphy. Any further discussions? Representative Stekis, got a question, comment? Nope. Yep.
No, I was just seconding that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot, Senator Pouliot absent, Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake, yes, Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry, yes, Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli, yes, Representative Stetkis,
Yes.
Representative Stetkis, yes, Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham, yes, Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross, yes, Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy, yes, Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. President, yes, Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, yes, Mr. Speaker, the motion prevails.
Thank you, Ms. Gresser.
Thank you for your time, folks.
Thank you, Senator. Next item is LR 2567, an act to prevent discovery in connection with a protection from abuse action sponsored by myself on this one. Just brief explanation. This was brought to my attention by an attorney who was dealing with a case where I was representing a victim of abuse. Unknown to him as a longtime practicing attorney, there is seemingly a loophole in law that allowed the defendant to compel the victim to provide testimony outside the court through in an interview with the defendant's attorney without the approval of a judge, which is my understanding is in many cases not permitted unless a judge approves. And in this case, because the law was mute in regards to this, the victim of abuse was required to meet with the defendant's attorney and answer questions in a deposition to that attorney. And so it's my feeling, and definitely the feeling of other attorneys who were surprised that this was permitted, that victims of abuse should not be subjected to questioning outside the presence of a judge, particularly if that attorney's questions get into the level of badgering and getting the victim to say things that perhaps they wouldn't otherwise say if there was a judge present. So that's the reason why this bill is before Ledge Council. The reason why it was after deadline is because this did not occur. This motion was not presented in this particular case until after cloture. Happy to answer any questions. Representative Dillingham.
I make a motion to move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Dunphy. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot, Senator Pouliot absent, Senator Timberlake,
Looks like he may have stepped away.
okay, Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry, yes, Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Senator Vitale, yes. Representative Stetkis?
Yes.
Representative Stetkis, yes. Representative Dillingham?
Yes.
Representative Dillingham, yes. Representative Talbot Ross?
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross, yes. Representative Dunphy?
Yes.
Representative Dunphy, yes. Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. President, yes. Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the motion passes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I voted yes,
Okay, and we'll
Okay.
record Senator Timberlake as yes too.
but I had to go get a coat because I refused to turn the heat up in my house.
My hands are getting a little chilly here, I must say.
Watch out for frozen pipes. That's my experience today.
Ah,
I'm in the hardware business. It's always good, frozen pipes.
Next item is LR 2548, an act to provide additional funding for the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. I'm not seeing Representative.
Representative LaRochelle asked me to speak on her behalf.
Okay, thank
She
you.
was not able to be here today. So I'm presenting her bill, and as you know, Representative LaRochelle was elected in a special election after the deadline happened for cloture. So that's the reason for the after deadline request. And she would like me to convey that with the increasing utility prices, heating costs are more oppressive than ever, which is what it's creating an incredible burden for many low-income Mainers. And this bill aims to get additional funding to Maine state housing authorities like Heat Fund to address the growing issue. And Representative LaRochelle would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Representative Dunphy. On behalf of Representative LaRochelle, any questions or comments or motions? Senator Timberlake.
My only question is I didn't think LIHEAP was in a money problem at the moment. I thought there was all sorts of funds there because when I checked with it a week or so ago, does anybody know that? I didn't think there was a money crisis there.
Yeah, I think there was mention of something this bill being related to accessing additional federal resources, but I'm not sure, Ed, if you have more details that you're able to share. I understand that.
Representative LaRochelle did indicate that there is federal dollars that could come from this, but I really don't have the details on that.
Representative Stetkis.
Mr. Speaker, as you know, you and I serving on the Labor Committee and dealing with Maine State Housing with this, they've never been shy to come before the legislature through the executive branch asking for help when it comes to this. So unless they were to come forward like they have in the past, I wouldn't be able to support this.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Senator Timberlake.
I think the only other comment I'd like to make, I think this is something we could deal with if we had to in the supplemental budget anyway, as this comes forward, because we're going to be dealing with that at some time, I believe, I think, maybe. But I don't see it at this time. They're not hurting for money the last time I looked.
Any additional questions, comments, or motion?
I'll make a motion to move it in.
Representative Dunphy makes a motion to move it in. Is there a second? Seconded by President Jackson. Any further comments? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot? Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake?
No.
Senator Timberlake, no. Senator Daughtry?
Yes.
Senator Daughtry, yes. Senator Vitale?
Senator Vitale indicates yes with her thumb up.
Okay. Representative Stetkis?
No.
Representative Stetkis, no. Representative Dillingham?
No.
Representative Dillingham, no. Representative Talbot Ross?
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross, yes. Representative Dunphy?
Yes.
Representative Dunphy, yes. Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. President, yes. Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, yes. Mr. Speaker, the motion prevails.
Thank you. Next item is LR 2542, an act to ensure fairness of representation in insurance disputes. Representative John Martin, not seeing him. Senator President Jackson, do you
Yeah.
present on his behalf?
Yeah, actually, this is a Aroostook County case, and John sent me a bunch of information about it. Basically, it came after, and the issue is where insurance company has both parties, like in an accident case where, maybe someone struck someone else or something like that. There was a case where the insurance company hired lawyers for one side and refused to pay the lawyers for the other side. And so what this bill would attempt to do, say that a case where the insurance company represented both sides of an accident, that they would cover insurance lawyers' costs on both sides. Obviously, they represent both sides, so that's what the bill would hope to do. And I would move it in.
President Jackson has
Second.
presented the bill, has moved it in, seconded by Representative Dunphy. Any questions or comments? Motion on the floor is to move it in. Senator Timberlake, you had your hand up at one point. Nope. Okay. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot, I think, is still absent. Senator Timberlake,
No.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
She's indicating yes.
Representative Stefkis,
No.
Representative Dillingham,
Looks like she may have stepped away.
okay. Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
and Mr. Speaker.
I'll vote yes, and Representative Dillingham is here, so she can record her vote as well.
I apologize. I didn't go put on a coat. I had to go fill a fire. My vote is yes.
1, 2, 3. So 7 yes, 2 no, 1 absent. The motion prevails.
Motion prevails. Thank you, President Jackson, on behalf of John Martin. Sponsor Dave McCray, Representative McCray. LR 2539, resolve authorizing director of the Bureau of Parks and Lands to renew a lease of certain lands in Aroostook State Park to the Federal Aviation Administration. I think we probably get a sense of why these bills are being brought forward. I don't know. He's not here, but I'll present on his behalf. I think we've heard that because of the corridor question, it looks like ACF is now the Bureau of Parks and Lands is requiring the legislature to approve these lease agreements by 2/3 votes. So that's, I think, the reason for the bill. Any discussion?
I'll move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake.
He indicates yes.
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 Senator Daughtry.
I'm sorry, my audio cut out again, and I just want to clarify, this is LR 2539, correct?
Yep.
Yes, this is 253. And so you are voting yes. Senator Vitelli,
Senator Vitelli votes yes.
Representative Stefkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 9 yeses, 1 absent. The motion prevails.
Motion prevails. Thank you, Representative McCray, and abstention. Next item is LR 2564, an act to exempt from sales tax testing kits for COVID-19. Representative Moriarty, the floor is yours to explain to us why is this after deadline and why should it be considered by the second regular session of the 130th legislature? Representative Moriarty, you are on mute.
I was, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is after deadline by virtue of the emergence of the Omicron variant in early December, and by virtue of the fact that by the end of that month, it had become the dominant variant here in the state and in the region. We know that during January, that trend has only continued, and that our entire healthcare system is excessively burdened at this time. I am not proposing any mandates or compliance regulations of any type. Instead, I suggest an additional approach designed to encourage increased participation in COVID prevention. Specifically, I propose to offer as an emergency measure an exemption from the state sales tax for the purchase of home health test kits for COVID, together with any supplies or materials that may be necessary. This will ease the financial burden for those who choose to test at home, while encouraging an overall increase in the number of those participating. This proposal could have a sunset date, which could then be revisited if the need arises. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Moriarty, for your brevity and explanation. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, any comments and or motions? We need motions to move our work along, so someone's got to offer one. Representative Stekes.
Make a motion to move it out.
Representative Stekes moves it out. Is there a second? Motion fails for a lack of second. Is there a motion to move it in?
I will second the previous motion if Representative Stekes would like to make his motion again.
Representative Stekes, as the chair would again acknowledge Representative Stekes' motion to move it out. Representative Dillingham has seconded. Any discussion on the motion? The motion is to move it out. Seeing no discussion, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake.
Yes.
Senator Daughtry.
No.
Senator Vitelli.
Senator Vitelli votes yes to move it out. Senator Vitelli. Yep, she votes yes.
Okay. Representative Stekes.
Yes.
To move it out. Representative Dillingham.
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross.
No.
Representative Dunphy.
Absent.
Mr. President.
No.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, you have 5 votes to move it out, 3 votes opposing that, and 2 absents. So the motion
prevails because you need, well,
yeah.
Works in this instance.
A motion to move it out. Well, it's true, because it's if it's a majority, then that
it needed 6 votes to proceed, so it would have needed 6 votes in the other direction for it to proceed.
Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. So,
I'll change it's not going anywhere. I mean, sorry, Representative Moriarty. I'll change my vote. We got to move forward.
President Jackson votes yes,
to move it out.
Yeah. Okay. So 6-2-1 or 6-2-1 2 6 6-1 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
6-2-6-2-6-2-6 is Walgreens.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 6, 2, and 2.
Okay.
6, 2, 2.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Representative Moriarty. Appreciate it. Next item is LR 2544, an act to exempt permanently disabled veterans from payment of property tax. Representative Roche. floor is yours to tell us why this bill is after deadline and why it's needed now. Why it's ought to be considered in the second regular session.
Well, thank you very much. It's after deadline because it came to my attention well after deadline. A veteran contacted me and asked if we would support this because the inflation has not, their pay, disabled vets benefits do not meet the rise of inflation. A family with a 100% disabled vet gets about $38,000 a year. This can't meet what the property taxes are doing to these vets. And I'm only looking for 100% disabled vets, which is about 1,300 vets in Maine right now. And the cost would be about $3.5 million if you look at the average property tax. And one of the things when I became a rep was I really wanted to help vets, find ways to help them. And this to me is kind of one of those no-brainer things for me when he contacts me. And then 22 other legislators have contacted me wanting to sponsor this, co-sponsor this bill. So I'm open to any questions, but I just feel like this is important at this time.
Thank you, Representative Roche. Are there any questions from council? Not seeing any questions.
I'll move it in. Make a motion to move in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? I saw Senator Timberlake indicate a second. I'll just say I'll be voting against it. I think there are probably a ton of really good arguments that can be made for property tax exemptions for various folks across the state, and I think veterans being one of them. And I can think of other folks that have served our country and our communities in various ways. And I know we've had bills in the past that have been up for consideration in this regard. I think the challenge is what happens when you go down this road, how many different roads split off from it. So that's my general concern. Not that I don't disagree with the intentions of the sponsor. Any additional questions, comments from anyone else? Seeing none. Ms. Gresser, please call the roll. You're on mute.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake.
Yes.
Senator Daughtry.
Yes.
Senator Vitelli.
She indicates yes.
Representative Stepkis.
Yes.
Representative Dillingham.
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross.
No.
Representative Dunphy.
No.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, you have 6 voting in the affirmative, 3 noes and 1 absent. So the motion passes.
Motion prevails. Thank you, Representative Roche.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Next item is LR 2541, an act to provide alternative meat to compensate hunters who have tagged deer from the Do Not Eat advisory area. Representative Wernicke, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've had constituents reach out to me because, as you know, Central Maine has suffered some serious issues with PFAS and PFOS. And the DEP, having known that there was an issue with the deer in Central Maine, and I had started hearing rumors myself in September, did not issue a warning until well after hunting season had already started. Many constituents have took deer in the Central Maine area have now been told that they don't eat the meat. And we have a couple of options here, because some of these folks, and I will say probably a good number of them, go hunting to feed their families. It's not about a sport, it is to feed their families through the winter. And having been told that they cannot eat these deer, especially in the Central Maine area, has put a burden on them. And I believe that we should offer free testing, and we should let DEP be responsible for, replacing these for these folks. They had plenty of time to notify folks. They waited until hunting season, just a few days left in hunting season. And I think that's a serious issue. So I'd like to see this moved in so we can discuss it and get DEP on track to take care of these folks.
Thank you, Representative Nikki. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing no questions, is there a motion?
Make a motion to move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Stekis. Any discussion on the motion at hand? Representative Stekis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Initially, this wasn't something that I was going to support, but the representative brought a few things to my attention. One of the things, as an avid hunter myself, some of these folks, not only are they and their families dependent on this as food, but in many cases, there's costs associated with that, with butchering and those sorts of things. So, yeah, to not have the DEP come out ahead of time prior to either them outlaying those expenses and the dependency on that food for them and their families for the winter, I'm gonna have to support moving this forward.
Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Gressler, please call the roll. The motion is to move it in.
Senator Pouliot. Senator Pouliot absent. Senator Timberlake.
I don't see him on this. Oh, yeah, he's at least not with us at the moment.
Senator Daughtry.
No. Sorry, my audio is saying it's unstable again. Could everyone?
No, we heard you. Yep.
We heard you.
The vote is no.
Senator Vitelli.
She votes no.
Representative Stekis.
Yes.
Representative Dillingham.
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross.
No.
Representative Dunphy.
No.
Mr. President.
No.
Mr. Speaker.
Nope.
Mr. Speaker, it's 2. in
Senator
favor.
Timberlake. Senator Timberlake, do you want to record your vote? He votes yes.
3, 6, and 2. So the no does not prevail.
3, 6, and 1 because Senator Timberlake returned. So
Yes. Yes.
3, 6, 1 motion fails. Thank you, Representative Nikki, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But once again, we're along party lines.
Next item is LR 2531, an act to require certain public health rules to be adopted as major substantive rules. Senator Stewart. No, I'm not seeing him here. Senator Timberlake, do you happen? We can skip it for now. We can come back to it. Let's see. LR 2522, an act to eliminate the state income tax paid on Social Security benefits. This is Representative Thorne. I also don't have him here yet. Representative Stekis, do you happen to know anything about this particular bill?
Sorry, I don't, but I'm texting him right now.
Okay, thank you. We also have Representative Underwood, LR 2526, an act to increase the property tax exemption. He also has LR 2545, an act to allow movement of over limit vehicles on any day of the week. And Representative White, I don't think any of these sponsors are here. LR 2529, an act to allow side-by-side all-terrain vehicles to use all-terrain vehicle trails, and LR 2532, an act to keep children in school. And we still have that, I think we still had an agency bill at the beginning that we skipped, LR 2571, right? I don't think anyone came from an agency to speak to this.
Mr. Speaker, I did hear from the agency. They had a sudden death in the family and were unable to attend today.
Okay, then I would seek a motion to table on this item, 2571. Senator Daughtry moves to table.
Yes.
Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Stekis. All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous of those present. Thank you. Have we heard from Senator Bennett on LR 2574? Seeing no. And then we have a couple more here. LR 2604, Senator Green enacted amendment charter of the Gray Water District. Anyone know about anything about this bill? Looks like your typical water charter water, gray water, not actually gray water. I think it's the town of Gray in this case. I got Representative Underwood here, so let's start with that. Representative Underwood, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We're going to start with LR 2526, an act to increase the property tax exemption. All we ask from you is to explain why it's after deadline and why it merits our consideration in the second regular session.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. The floor is yours to explain to us why this is after deadline. And we're talking about an act to increase the property tax exemption.
Sure. Basically, to give every.
You just muted yourself, but we could hear you before. There you go. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Well, I got two things. Okay, let's try this.
We can hear you. You're good to go.
LD, yeah, the property tax exemption is a result of the current pandemic, to give all Mainers a break and add $5,000 to the property tax exemption as a.
We can hear you. You're good. You can keep going.
Okay, then let's try. Basically the fee LD to add $5,000, and this is an F to the property tax exemption to give everybody a break in the state of Maine who is a homeowner, and basically that's it. And I appreciate it if you allow this to go straight forward and.
Thank you, Representative Underwood. Is there a motion or a question for the sponsor? Seeing no comments, is there a motion? Representative Dillingham?
I actually have a question, and this would be for Mr. Charbonneau, where this is an increase of property tax exemption, and we just dealt with that in the last session. There isn't an issue with bringing forth the same piece of legislation?
I would think because it's a further increase over what was done last year, it's not doing the same thing, but that's certainly a decision, I believe, for you to make. So
thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to move it in.
Representative Dillingham moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Steckes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Well, I don't know what the motion is because I just got here, so.
The motion is
I'll play it back.
the motion is to move an act to increase the property tax exemption in sponsored by Representative Underwood.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the details of it, but I understand it's homestead exemption and I'm all for that. So yes.
Senator Pouliot votes yes.
Senator Timberlake,
He votes yes.
Senator Daughtry,
No.
Senator Vitelli,
I think you can hear me now. I vote no.
we can hear you. Representative Stefkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
No.
Representative Dunphy,
No.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. Speaker.
Nope.
4 yeses, 6 nos. The motion does not prevail.
Motion fails. And the next item is LR 2545, an act to allow movement of over limit vehicles on any day of the week. Representative Underwood, this is also your bill. Do you want to explain to us very briefly what this bill does? Oh, you just have to unmute yourself first. There you go. You're good to go.
Well, yes, basically this is, basically this bill is, I purchased a home and they had problems moving it from across the state in order to get it to its destination, which is Presque Isle. And they had major problems with trying to coordinate days in which to, which they could operate. And I talked to the, one of the representatives for the home dealership in Brewer. And they told me basically what one of the problems, major problems was their ability to operate on the main highways during the certain hours. And basically what this bill does is extend the hours. And with the exception of Sunday, I'd like to extend the hours for the industry and to do it as soon as possible, because all Mainers purchasing modular homes or mobile homes would appreciate it, particularly in the wintertime. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Underwood. Are there any questions, comments on this item? Representative Stefkis.
Speaker, having been involved in this industry for 30 years, there is no question that this is a problem, but there's some underlying concerns. Many of these movements over the road require police escort and things like that. And at this present time, with the undermanned police departments and things like that, I see where expanding this currently would be an issue. And I don't really feel that it falls into the purview of this emergency session. I think this would be a really good bill to bring up at the beginning of next session, because it could definitely use some work. And I think some good advances could be made if we had the decent amount of time to work on it.
Thank you, Representative Stefkis. Are there any other comments, questions, or motions? Looking for a motion. Just one motion.
To move it out.
Thank you. Representative Stefkis motions to move it out. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator President Jackson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes, to move out.
yes to move out. Senator Timberlake,
He votes yes.
Senator Daughtry,
Yes.
Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stefkis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the motion prevails.
Motion to move it out carries. Thank you, Representative Underwood, for your time. I see Senator Bennett has joined us. Senator Bennett, you have LR 2574, an act to retroactively approve by a 2/3 vote of the legislature the lease of certain public lands by the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, Bureau of Public Lands. Tell us what's going on here. I think we may know. I think we may know.
You may, thank you,
you
Mr.
know,
Speaker.
you tell us.
You may recall that there was a ballot measure recently, IB 1, LD 1295, that was enacted by the people of Maine. It required certain actions by the legislature to approve certain projects. And so I put the bill in to make sure that the legislature had a vehicle to do what the people told us to do. As you know, this is a matter which is currently in the court system, and so it may not be of moment right now, and therefore I would ask the council to table this matter until we have some resolution.
Thank you, Senator Bennett. Any questions for the sponsor, President Jackson?
Thank you. With Senator Bennett's request, I'd definitely move the table.
President Jackson moves the table, seconded by Senator Timberlake. Yep, and no discussion on tabling motion. All those in favor just indicate by raising your hand. And I see unanimous of those present. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Bennett. Appreciate it. I'll clear the deck here. Senator Timberlake.
Yes, I talked to Senator Stewart, and he's in class.
Okay.
He would like to have it tabled if we're willing to do that. If we're not, he told me what I could say and what I couldn't say. And I can do my best, whichever it's good for you. It's one of his first classes, so he really had to take it today and he couldn't get out.
I'm happy to take a tabling motion, I think.
All right, I make a motion to table it.
Table by
That was LD
2531.
2531.
Tabled by Senator Timberlake, seconded by President Jackson. No discussion on tabling motion. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. And it is unanimous of those present and voting. Thank you very much. The only other bills I had were from Representative Thorne and Representative White. Any words from either of those folks? I'm happy to. We could table them, and then if we need to come back to them, I don't know. Senator Timberlake.
I make a motion to table all three, or whatever it was.
I'm fine with that motion. If Ms. Gresser, it's okay to do them in bulk like that. Okay. So LR 2522, LR 2529, and LR 2532 would be tabled. All those in favor? Did I have a second?
Thank you.
Seconded by Representative Stekis, I believe, and then show of hands in favor of tabling. Unanimous of those present and voting. Thank you. And then I had just these other two bills. Senator Breen, President Jackson.
Thank you, Speaker. On 2604, an act to amend the charter of the Great Water District. Senator Breen did contact me, said she couldn't make it. It's pretty standard. Anytime that the charter needs to be changed, it has to go through Utilities Committee. I mean, it's, regardless of what the change is. So I think that's obviously something very appropriate, and I'd move it in.
President Jackson moves it in. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Timberlake. Ms. Gresser, please. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Gresser, please call the roll.
Senator Pouliot,
Yes.
Senator Timberlake,
Yes.
Senator Daughtry, Senator Vitelli,
Yes.
Representative Stekis,
Yes.
Representative Dillingham,
Yes.
Representative Talbot Ross,
Yes.
Representative Dunphy,
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it's unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you. And then LR 2603, an act to expand access to life-saving medications. I don't see Representative Brooks, so we probably can take a tabling motion on this as well.
So moved.
So moved by Representative Talbot Ross, seconded by Senator President Jackson. All those in favor of tabling, show of hands. Unanimous of those present and voting. Thank you. Okay, now we get to a bunch of things that, let's see what I skipped here. We can go back to the top of the agenda. We had reports from executive director and state office directors. Mr. Nolan, if you'd like to walk us through the fiscal report.
Sure.
Found on page 6.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, the fiscal report for revenue, primarily revenue through December, so halfway through fiscal year 22. The most important thing to note in this report is that it now reflects the December.
Mr.
Yes.
Speaker.
Yep.
Does he have a way to put that up on the screen? Because I'm trying to look at it on my little iPhone and my eyes don't work that good right now.
Is there anyone that's able
I
to
always
share?
put it up on the screen before and I just wondered.
I could share it, I think.
Do
you have it, Mr. Nolan, or do you want me to do it?
I can go grab it.
I got it.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Should have planned on doing that anyhow.
You all see that? Nope, that's the wrong item.
No, I think that was it.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Can you make it bigger?
I thought that was my my actual work showing up on the screen. Let me see if I'm just going to download it straight to my computer and then open it up and see if that works. Sorry.
Why did you be sorry? I'm the cause of this grief. See, I went and got eye surgery last week and it hasn't worked too good. Everything's gotten worse to read.
Okay, I think I'm going to be able to do this now pretty successfully here. Let's see. Yes. Share. How's it look?
Can you make it bigger?
I think so, yeah.
Perfect.
Good?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I'll try to scroll along as Mr. Nolan presents.
So what I was saying is that the briefing that we had sent you last month, that the new forecast had not been included. So this briefing now includes that forecast, and that forecast in December had increased our general fund revenue by 443.2 million for fiscal year 22. So now through December, revenue are above that forecast by 84.6 million for the month and 90.4 million in total. The major reason, I'm just going to try to do this whole report relatively quickly given the time. The major reason are our top revenue components, income tax and corporate income, personal income tax, individual income tax, and corporate. Individual is up by 38.3 million, with most of that positive variance in income tax withholding. Corporate tax revenue is also up significantly by 36.2 million. And then the last piece of that overall positive variance is sales tax being up by 7.3 million. Just to point out that we, with the short session, we are poised to update the revenue forecast. The Economic Forecasting Commission is meeting tomorrow And then the Revenue Forecasting Committee will meet at the end of February for a March 1st update of the revenue forecast. So certainly this positive variance. And it looks like for January, we still have a couple more days for payments and revenue collection, but it looks like January is coming in pretty close to budget. So we'll have that information and then whatever the Economic Forecasting Commission does tomorrow. And we will be reviewing and updating the forecasts at the end of February as necessary. So that's general fund. Highway fund also has a positive variance above the December forecast of 1 million in December and 2.3 million for the fiscal year to date. That was a result of fuel taxes being over budget and also motor vehicle registrations and fees being over budget. The other 2 points on here, cash balances, the average balance in the cash pool for December was 3.6 billion, which was actually a decrease from November's average of 3.8 billion. The decrease was largely the result of negative decreases in other special revenue funds balances that were partially offset by increases in general fund balances. But the overall number was down from 3.8 to 3.6. The average highway fund balance in December was 20.8 million, which was a significant decrease down from November. But we always have that drop in December because that's when we make the annual payments to the local road assistance program. And then lastly, just pointing out that CEFC, as I already said, is meeting tomorrow, and that the RFC will be meeting at the end of February to review and update the revenue forecast. That is all I have. Sorry if I went too quickly. Can answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Nolan? Seeing none. Thank
Mr.
you.
Speaker, you did an excellent job scrolling. Next time I will be prepared to do it myself. I apologize.
No worries. Happy to do it. Thank you, Mr. Nolan, for your presentation. And Ms. Fox, you are up next for the Legislative Studies Report, starting on page 10.
Thank you, Speaker Fecto and President Jackson and members of the Legislative Council. So I am happy to report that all but one of the interim studies that were staffed by OPLA have been completed and their reports have been submitted. The one that is not yet complete is the Family Medical Leave Interim Study Report. Sorry, the sun is obscuring me here. And that's not due until next week. So, and the report is pending and in the drafting phase. So that means that you have received reports from the Racial Impact Statement Process Pilot. You have received the Criminal Records Review Committee report, the Housing Opportunities report, the Probate Courts report, the Basic Income Security report, the review of the tax expenditures by the legislature. That was a joint order study. And then you have the Criminal Justice Committee has received the report from the reviser on stigmatizing language. There is one study that is still ongoing or not yet complete, which is the College Affordability and Completion, and that's being staffed by the University of Maine system and the community colleges. Of the ongoing statutory studies, you have received the Right to Know Advisory Committee and the Marijuana Advisory Commission report. And finally, there at the end of the chart, there are the other Legislative Council approved studies, and those are the ones that have been staffed by departments or agencies. And as far as I know, the reports are expected on all of those. None of them are due until next week.
Great, thank you, Ms. Fox. Are there any questions for Ms. Fox regarding the various reports, commissions, studies before the legislature. Seeing none, and I can't see everyone, so if you're signaling with your actual hand or trying to talk in some way, please speak up. But I didn't see at least anyone use their Zoom hand function, so that concludes those two items. Old business. Council actions taken by ballot. There is some information on actions we have taken by ballot. That's found on page 13, no action required. Item number 2 on old business was consideration of tabled bill requests for introduction in the second regular session of the 130th legislature from October 25th and November 18th. I don't know if anyone is moving there. I think there were 2 items. Not hearing interest in moving any of those tabled items from last time off the table. Okay, and then we have to accept a number of reports. So we did item number 1 on new business. Item number 2, acceptance of the 16th annual report of the Rights No Advisory Committee. I would seek a motion to accept.
So moved.
So moved by Senator Daughtry. I think I am only able
Yes.
to hear your voice. Okay, thank you.
It is Senator Daughtry. She,
Thanks. And is there a second? There's got to be a better way to look at this little box thing. Aha. Okay. Here we go. Second on the motion. Representative Steckes, thank you. All those in favor, I think we can do by show of hands. I got unanimous of those voting and present. Thank you. Next item is item 3, acceptance of the report of the committee to study the feasibility of creating basic income security. Is there a motion? Motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Senator Daughtry. All those in favor signify by showing your hands. I got unanimous of those voting and present. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker,
Yep, Senator Timberlake.
is there any way to move these all in a lump sum?
I would.
I'm asking Ms. Gresser that.
Yeah, Ms. Gresser, is that appropriate?
yes, if, as long as everyone is going to vote the same way, you can move to accept them as a block, and we'll just record it that way.
I would entertain, well, first of all, I'll just make a motion. Let me read them and see if anyone, as I read them, if anyone is going to dissent on the vote, indicate that way. If not, we will vote them as a block. Item number 4 was the acceptance of the report of the Tax Expenditure Review Working Group. Item number 5, acceptance of the report of the commission to create a plan to incorporate the probate courts into the judicial branch. Item number 6, acceptance of the report of the commission to increase housing opportunities in Maine by studying zoning and land use restrictions. Item number 7, acceptance of the report of the Criminal Records Review Committee. Item number 8, acceptance of the report of the Legislative Council Subcommittee to implement a racial impact statement process pilot. And item number 9, acceptance of the annual report of the Mid-Coast Regional Redevelopment Authority. Any Representative Steckes? Yep.
Thank you. I just want to be clear. This is nothing more than accepting the report from the particular committee. Subcommittee has nothing to do with whether we support what they came up with or not.
Correct. Accepting it as basically putting it on the shelf, or for the,
I would make a motion to accept
the
the
ages.
block.
Representative Steckes accept all these as a slate, and I have Senator Daughtry indicating a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. I have unanimous of those voting and present. Thank you very much. And item number 10 on our agenda, introduction and remarks from Matthew Clancy, the new chief of the Bureau of Capitol Police. Mr. Clancy, Chief Clancy, sorry we kept you around for so long. Hopefully you're still with us, and hopefully you're still seeking to be employed with us, and you haven't run away from the legislature after witnessing this Ledge Council meeting. So we appreciate you being here, and when you're ready, the floor is yours to take away. And I should clarify that we will have a security briefing as well, but that security briefing will be done in an executive session. So these remarks at the top are merely an introduction to Chief Clancy. So with that, Chief Clancy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm looking at, I enabled the video, but I'm not seeing it. I don't know if you're seeing the video, but anyways, I am here. Let me try that. Interesting. Not quite sure we're on video. At any rate, again, I thank you for the opportunity. I know it's been a long day. You folks, how's my audio? Are we good?
Your audio is good. Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. So I'll be as brief as I can. This is the first opportunity to formally say hello to the council. I come to you from Massachusetts, where I did the 36 plus years in law enforcement. I retired as a police chief in Duxbury, Massachusetts. I also served as police chief in Plimpton, Massachusetts for a number of years, 20 plus years as a municipal police chief in Massachusetts. Of those, concurrent to that, I served 10 years, my last 10 years on the Mass Police Accreditation Commission. The Accreditation Commission is formally a state agency that transitioned to a nonprofit in the early 90s after funding for the budget cuts in the state. That was one of the victims of budget cuts. What the Accreditation Commission does is we set the standards for policing in Massachusetts, and we offer the process of auditing of departments and awarding them based on if they're in compliance. We are the ones that bestow accreditation or certification to those departments. My last 3 years prior to my retirement, I served as the president of the board of directors and president of the commission itself. And I just bear with me with the self-promotion. I think a lot of who I am is based around my experience with the Accreditation Commission. Firmly believe in the exercise of best practices and transparency, accountability. And I think that I've always had that as a strong philosophy for my law enforcement management skills. And I think that's only been validated over the course of the last number of years with some of the policing matters that we've had to address on a national basis. I'm also a graduate of the FBI National Academy and have served a handful of years as an adjunct professor in the criminal justice program at Bridgewater State University down in Massachusetts. I also come to you with a bit of large event experience. I was a member of the team as a reserve with the Foxborough Police Department. So anything at Gillette for the last 7 or 8 years, football games, soccer games, concerts, and so on. I was a part of the security detail for that. And full house at that facility would be 75,000. So I have some experience there. And I'm just happy, appreciative to be selected to take on this challenge. As I said, sort of from a philosophy standpoint, I am all about the transparency. I think that I take to heart that we need to operate with equity, accountability, but at the same time, and equally as important is we need to be cooperative. We need to be engaged in a team approach to safety and security. And my people and my organization, we also have to operate with some empathy and some humility. So those are some of the things that my people will hear from me when we get into those sort of philosophy discussions moving forward. Sounds like to some extent a little bit of a tall order, but it certainly can be accomplished if you're focused and if you mean it. And we do mean it. I do want to just point out that some of the things that we will be doing at the Capitol Police, we will be engaged and continue to be engaged locally and nationally. Something that they've been doing and we have expanded since my arrival. What I'm referring to there is we want to be dialed into best practices, not just in the region, but nationally. And that's in speaking with some of my colleagues, other legislative security operations throughout the country. We're also going to be engaged in the same fashion when it comes to intelligence gathering and monitoring. We need to be positioned a little bit more proactively to sort of address a situation before it becomes a situation. So engagement is critical, and that's going to be a major component of what we're going to be doing moving forward. Scanning for those potential threats and vulnerabilities. We're also going to be respectful of all opinions and walks of life. We're going to be professional, and we're going to be patient, and we're going to apply some common sense into our approaches. So I've been with you for 3 months, a little over 3 months, and the initial process with that was really the period of introduction and getting to know people, places, current practices, and so on. And I've met a lot of the leadership group, and you've been very accommodating and welcoming, and I do appreciate that. It's very critical for me to make sure that I maintain a good working relationship with all my the leadership folks, and really everybody in the building. We've got some great folks that not just our elected officials, the staffers, and it's a good group of people, and it's my charge to make sure that they're comfortable with me and I'm approachable, and it remains that way. So that's gone well, and I really appreciate everyone's assistance and support in that regard. So as I've been here for 3 months now, it's time to start pulling up my initial assessment at the request of my boss, the Commissioner Sawchuk at DPS. And so that's underway. In my assessment, I'm looking at the mission and the responsibilities of the organization, sort of those that are really documented and those that just are sort of assumed. Looking at the practices, the personnel, policy. Policy is very important in my estimation and from my experience with the Accreditation Commission. I know I've got some work to do with refreshing some policy, and we're happy to take that on. I'm also looking at the training of the current staff, the equipment, facilities, and funding. So it's a wide array. And once I have that pulled together, I'm hoping to present to the commissioner sometime in early to mid-March, sort of my observations, and I'm sure that I'll have the opportunity to share those with you folks shortly thereafter. It's a very interesting time where the pandemic obviously is it's a very difficult time, but at the same token, at least for my transition, it's actually assisted me in getting settled in and being able to make some deeper observations, simply because it's the facilities, the campus just it's not very busy. It gives me the opportunity to try to get into the weeds, get around into various facilities and buildings where maybe my time and attention likely would have been drawn elsewhere had I joined you when pre-COVID, when the campus was in full swing, so to speak. So that's actually been a positive in a very odd way, but it has allowed me to spend a bit more time on this assessment process. Now, interestingly, we have through BGS and DAFs, there is the contracted study going on right now relative to the Cross building itself. The scope really is focused on Cross, but it does have some overlapping to the State House, obviously, in the campus in general. And we'll be seeing that report out, I would say probably within a month or two. That would be a document for review. Met with the consultants and the steering committee for that project a number of times. And I am looking forward to seeing their report. I think my intention is that with my assessment and with this report, that'll allow myself and collectively everyone involved in the security of our campus to really start working on the roadmap, make those decisions as to, what the flavor is for advancements, enhancements, and then march forward. So these are getting both of these completed in pretty much this very short amount of time is really going to allow us to hit the ground running in the coming months. So with that said, when we have some things to look at, some recommendations to look at, I will be joining in collaboratively and globally with all the stakeholders to see if we can't make those decisions on where we're moving as far as our security is. So appreciate the time. It's I know it's late in the day. You've had a lot of work today. I just wanted to say hello, give you a rough idea as to who Matt Clancy is, sort of cover some of these things that I'm working on over the course of starting now and over the course of the next couple of months with this assessment and what's going on a larger scale with a review of the cross building and that security. Again, looking forward to seeing that report get released sometime very soon. So, Mr. Speaker, if anybody has any questions, any follow-up questions, I do have a couple things I do want to discuss that are security related, and my understanding is for those items, we're going to move into an executive session.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Clancy. I will look towards council if they have any questions for Chief Clancy that are not executive session related questions regarding the security of the building. But if there are any questions in general, I think I can definitely speak on behalf of Ledge Council and welcome you to the legislature, welcome you to the state of Maine and to state government. And we're incredibly thankful for your service. And I think it is good sometimes to have some fresh eyes on processes. And I know that we all appreciate the work that you're doing to make our space, the space that legislators, executive branch employees, judicial branch employees, nonpartisan, partisan staff alike, making sure it's a place that we can work in productively, and the public as well, making sure that they're respected and safe when they step into the building to engage in this really important democratic process that we have. So thank you for being here. Thanks for stepping up to take on this job, and we're really thankful for the work you're doing. Not seeing any questions for you. We will move into an executive session, but before I do that, I had failed to read the Personnel Committee report, which was issued on our agenda. And so if you all indulge me, I'm going to pull up that report and just note that the Personnel Committee met on December 20th, 2021 to consider the following matters: merit increases for the Secretary of the Senate and the Clerk of the House. The committee voted to approve step increases for both the Secretary of the Senate and the Clerk of the House. Step increases for constitutional officers. The committee reviewed and approved step increases for 3 eligible constitutional officers. Performed performance evaluation and step increases. The committee voted to approve step increases for the following nonpartisan office directors: Danielle Fox, Director, Office of Policy and Legal Analysis; Christopher Nolan, Director, Office of Fiscal and Program Review; Edward Charbonneau, Reviser of Statutes; John Melendez Barden, Director, Law and Legislative Reference Library; Suzanne Gresser, Executive Director. This concludes the Personnel Committee's report. Happy to take any questions should you have them. Not seeing any. And I will go over to, of course, Suzanne, since the time you've sent me all these emails with my scripts, I've got like 7,000 emails in my inbox. So I have to like try to find the right email here. Let's see. Got it here. I would make a motion that in accordance with 1 MRSA subsection 405 subsection 6, that the Legislative Council enter into an executive session for the purpose of receiving information from Chief Clancy related to security plans. Is there a second? seconded by Senator Vitelli. Is there a separate Zoom link for this, or are we?
We could do that, Mr. Speaker, or Nick brilliantly reminded me that the last time we had an executive session, we used a breakout room.
Okay,
So
yeah,
if that's
good.
easier, yeah.
Yep. So at some point soon, you'll be prompted to move into a breakout room. And Suzanne, are we doing I know we have a additional harassment training for supervisor, since we're all considered supervisors of our offices. Is that being done? That's not being done, obviously, in the meeting format. So we'll come back, adjourn, and then.
Yes. If you have time, and it's perfectly understandable if people.
Yeah. If it's possible to reschedule, I certainly would appreciate that, given the hour at this point.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Jackie.
No worries.
I hope you didn't stick around the entire time for the end there.
It was a pleasure.
Okay. Between you and Chief Clancy, we're both going to see you run away from us after keeping you around for so long today. Okay, so you should be prompted now for the breakout room.
it looks like most of us who were left in the executive committee room have made it back into the main room. And so at this point, I would entertain a motion first if there are any announcements. I think the hour is late, so probably not.
Motion to adjourn.
I move a motion to adjourn has been made. Thank you, Representative Talbot Ross, seconded by Representative Senator Timberlake. All those in favor, make some signature. Thank you all for hanging in there, and we'll see you again next time.